This video is brought to you by Nate Productions. Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial. During this tutorial, we'll be discussing how to create a jump mechanic for your game. And all you need for this is just a rigid body and a script. So I already have this in place from previous lectures or tutorials. If you haven't watched this, just attach a rigid body and a script. And going into our script, this is what I have in place. So these two lines have been in place from the previous tutorial, and so has been these uh, lines on the top. And all we're going to need to make a jump is these few lines here. So 4 lines, and through the rigid body. So I already got a reference of the rigid body here. So I'm getting the component in the start function, and I have the rigid body created in the above here. So I have the rigid body as a reference of the game object, and then I'm going to be checking if the space is pressed. So unlike the previous way that I've discussed in the previous lectures, where we've used get axis and we used an axis to get some input, instead if I use this for the jump, which there is already in place a jump axis. So if I were to go to the project settings, you can see that along with the horizontal and vertical there is a jump. And if I use that, there will have been an issue due to the fact that it will have been continuously adding velocity to our um, rigid body. So we do not want that. Instead, the get key down is only used once, regardless if the key is still being pressed. It will only be activated once, and then if the key is still pressed, it will just ignore it. So this will occur just once, and then it will just you'll have to repress the button to be re-triggered. So if you want to jump again, you'll have to release the button and then press it again. So all I'm doing here is replacing and overriding essentially the velocity of the rigid body with a new vector, and we are only changing the value of the y. We're keeping the x and z values as is. As you can see here, I'm just setting them to what they are already, and I'm just adding 10 to the y. And if I were to go back to our unit side here, if I were to press space, you can see that it jumps like this. You can play around with the values, of course, and you can see I'm holding the button down now and it doesn't do anything. But if I were to jump like this, you can see how it changes. And just to demonstrate how it will look without the key down and use the get axis instead, I will go back to Unity, and once this script is assembled, I will run it again and show you the difference essentially. So if I press space and keep it, you can see that the ball is off. It just keeps going upwards and adding velocity over and over again. So we do not want that in a jump. We just want it to be occurring once, and that's it. So this is a very simple way of creating a jump. In the next video, I'm going to be extending this to take into account the if the player is on the ground. Of course, you will want the player to be on the ground when jumping, so we'll be taking account into that. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you during the next tutorial. Goodbye. Want to become a professional game developer? I designed the ultimate game development course that will teach you everything you need to make your own top quality games with over 20 hours of content and 100 lectures at your disposal. Make sure to check the link in the description for more information.